Hello. Hello. Thanks for joining us. Welcome. Whoops. That's not a good start, is it? Let's try again. Lucky we've got some mindfulness practice in our pockets to lean back on. As the ever-inspiring Asha said, let's wait for that awkward time whilst we allow people to join us. Hello. Hi, Jenny. How are you? I hope everyone's well. I hope you're ready to hear a little bit about some mindfulness and some meditation and what we're going to talk about today. I don't know about you guys, but I've really enjoyed the sessions that we've had so far. Living more waste-free life. Always need more information on that. And the first one that Jace did, really interesting. Today, we might just jump straight into it, I think. That makes sense, doesn't it? Hey, Kerry. Hello. Thanks for joining as well. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Stephanie. I do a lot of work with BA, which is awesome. And amongst the various things that I do, I teach a lot of mindfulness and meditation. And I also run a company which delivers organic fruit and veg in my local area, which is in Ivanhoe in Melbourne. And both of those things are really awesome. I really feel very grateful for the work that I'm fortunate enough to be able to do and to spend my time doing. And I guess we'll talk a little bit about both, actually, although the session is, or what I mean by that is both of those businesses incorporate a lot of mindfulness. Obviously, the first one's kind of obvious. It is a mindfulness and meditation business. But certainly there's a lot to think about in eating mindfully as well. But we'll come to that in a little while. So the first thing I wanted to talk to you guys about is mindfulness and meditation. I think a lot of people are always unsure about which is which, what's the difference, is there a difference? And mindfulness has become such a buzzword, such a an easy go-to, and I'm not sure that everybody knows exactly. I think there can be some confusion anyway. So, and everyone has different definitions as well, which doesn't help with the confusion. But I guess it's grey. It's a little bit grey. So for my 2 cents worth, I think the easiest way to differentiate the two is meditation really is something that you actively choose to do. So you might choose to sit down and do a meditation. You might choose to do some kind of meditation practice, right? Mindfulness can very much be a way that you choose to live. So you can choose to take a moment to be mindful. So that might be, 30 seconds whilst you're, standing in a queue. Not that many of us are doing much of that at the moment, but or while you're waiting for the traffic lights to change while you're driving somewhere, you might choose to take a couple of moments just to check in with yourself. So kind of like a mini meditation, I guess, but also really choosing to actively be mindful in your decisions, in all of the different things that you do. So that might be in eating, for example. I mentioned that before, so potentially we'll just talk about that one first of all. So mindful eating is actually a really interesting subject to me, obviously. And I think it incorporates two different things. It incorporates actively choosing what you're eating, as in being mindful of what you're eating. So choosing healthier foods, choosing high quality foods, choosing like the best of what you can afford, thinking about where your food is coming from, thinking about how you're choosing to fuel your body. But the other side of that is also in actually mindfully eating when you're eating. So taking the time to really focus on the food. I'll share a little story. Actually, I was doing a workplace program with a group a while ago, probably like mid last year or something, and we had some really, it was like a big group of millennials that was part of the workforce, and we had been doing this mindfulness, introduction to mindfulness program. And so one of the weeks, one of the young guys came back and he said, "Oh, look, you'll be so impressed. This is what we did on the weekend." He said, "I was having coffee with 3 of my friends on Sunday. We were all sitting at this cafe in Brunswick having a coffee. And then a friend of mine said, 'Oh, I want to learn more about mindfulness.'" And he said, "Well, funny you say that, because I'm doing an introduction to mindfulness program at work." And he said one of the things that we were being told was that you can eat mindfully and you can really focus on whatever you're eating or drinking, and just take a few moments to really tune in to the smells, the tastes, the textures, everything that's sometimes we don't even notice because we're just eating on autopilot. So he shared this with his friends, and they decided that they would do that with the coffees that they were drinking there and then. So I just would love to have been a fly on the wall of, I could just imagine like a really busy hipster cafe, and then there's these 4 young millennial kind of hipster guys just like quietly bent over their coffees, like smelling the coffee and drinking the coffee. And so I think that would have been really cool to see, but they really enjoyed it. And it's as simple as that, really. It's actually taking the time to enjoy what you're tasting and what's in front of you, and being grateful for that, I guess, which is a whole different form of mindfulness practice, but something we'll come to a bit later on as well. I think I wanted to talk a little bit about what meditation is as well, because I think I know one of my favorite meditation teachers always jokes that meditation has a PR problem, that people think it's hard, they think it's really difficult to do, they think it takes a long time, and that you've got to get it right, and it's really easy to get wrong, and all of those things are completely false. Meditation is really, really easy. It does take practice, there's no doubt about that, and habits are hard, right? Habits are harder than meditation. It's tricky to differentiate the two. So getting into a habit and doing it regularly can be quite tricky, and that's probably the hardest part, I think. Meditation doesn't need to be hard, though. It can be really, really easy. It can be as little as, if you're starting a meditation practice for the first time, you're much better off meditating for 1 minute every day, or even every other day. Like it can be as small as that. Your meditation practice can be whatever works for you. It's better to start small and to succeed in doing that than to try to meditate for 20 minutes twice a day every day, and stick to that if that's what you're trying to do from the beginning. So for some people that works great, and if you're one of those people, go for it, absolutely. But frequently people set really high expectations and then struggle to keep to them. So in mindfulness, we talk a lot about neuroplasticity as well, which is a whole fascinating subject. It's a bit of a black hole that you can fall into very easily. But a couple of things that are really easy to understand that we have learnt from the practice of from the understanding and study of neuroplasticity is that, I guess the first thing is the positivity conditioning. So whatever, if you practice mindfulness, for example, if you practice meditation and you do 1 minute and you go, that worked really well, I was good at that, cool, that's good. And the next day you do it again and you have that same achievement orientated feeling, that feeling of success attaches itself to meditation in your brain. And then you are more likely to succeed when you continue to try doing it. So the opposite is also true. If you attempt to meditate for 20 minutes and it's really hard and it feels really laborious to you, and that happens again the next time, then your brain also gets that association of meditation is hard, and it doesn't feel good. So you're self-perpetuating almost what's happening. So it's really important to start small and enjoy it and do whatever works best for you. The best meditation practice you'll ever do is the one that you'll actually do. So keep that in mind. Something else that we know about neuroplasticity is that what we know now and what we see in the brain with the technology that we have today is that whatever you use your brain for most often or regularly, your brain gets better at. Think about that for a moment. That has really serious implications. Whatever you choose to use your brain for the most, your brain gets better at doing. So if you're continuously having a negative mindset, negative self-talk, being really detrimental and in your mindset, then your brain gets better at that, and it does that more often, and it will fall into that as a habitual pattern and behavior. If you choose to use your brain to think positively, to be happy, to sunny side of life, looking for the silver lining, then you will also get better at that too. Even if that's not your natural disposition, even if you are a person that tends to have more negative self-talk, there are lots of people like that, right? And lots of us are like that because that's just what we've seen and what we've grown up with and what we've known. And I myself had extremely negative self-talk as a teenager, and up until I started meditating very regularly. So it doesn't mean that if any habit can be broken, I guess, and it is about practice. And about choosing again and again to observe what you're thinking about, whether it's serving you or not, and whether you can adjust that. So that's a much bigger conversation, but I hope that there's some things that you can think about maybe to, I guess, understand how it can be really easy to have, that's what we're talking about there, is a mindfulness practice, choosing to be mindful of your own thoughts and seeing whether they're serving you or not, and whether you can adjust them. And every time you catch negative thought patterns, you get better at catching them, right? It's the same thing in a slightly different way. So something else about meditation, which I really, really wanted to touch on, because as I said before, a bit of a PR problem. Meditation is not something that you need to, that you can mess up, right? People often say to me, I'm focusing, and then a thought comes in, and then I've messed it up, and I've screwed it up, it's done, I have to start again. That's really not necessary at all. You can meditate for as long as you want. First of all, time constraints are not a thing, right? Any amount of time you want to meditate for is totally fine. So 5 minutes works for you, definitely do 5 minutes. But when you think, it doesn't mean you've messed up your meditation at all. That means your brain is behaving as your brain is supposed to behave. It's thinking. The brain's job is to think. We want it to be thinking. If it's not thinking at all, that's an issue, right? Because then you're not alive anymore. That's the only time the brain is not thinking at all. So let's not aim for that. That's not what we're aiming for here in the slightest. So it's totally fine for your brain to think. It's very natural and very normal. The practice of meditation is to notice that your brain has wandered away and to actively choose to bring it back to whatever you're focusing on in your meditation. Now that might be whatever that is, whether it's a gratitude meditation, whether it's a visualization, whether it's a mantra. And then when your mind wanders away again, you notice it again and you go, oh, hold on, brain. You're supposed to be focusing here now. It's that active choice of coming back to your meditation it's the same as being active in any other way. Like, for example, the bicep curl, right? Every time you do it, you get a bit stronger at doing it. It's exactly the same with the meditation practice. Every time you notice your brain wandering away and you actively choose to bring it back, you're getting better at noticing it next time. So over a longer period of time of sustained meditation practice, what happens is that the period of time between when your brain starts wandering away and you've noticed that it's wandered away and you bring it back becomes shorter and shorter and shorter. It doesn't mean that your brain stops wandering away in meditation. It doesn't. I've been meditating for, 20 years now, and my brain will wander away. And I've still absolutely have meditations where I'm like, that was the worst meditation ever. That was really hard. My brain kept wandering away the whole time, or I couldn't focus, or that happens. There's always going to be days like that. But it's like anything. It's like anything. There's always going to be times when you're like, wow, that was awesome. Like a night's sleep, right? Some nights sleep are amazing, and other nights sleep you're like, just get me out of bed now. I'm done trying to sleep, right? So it's like anything, really. There are some questions. Marta, do I recommend a particular type of meditation practice? Well, other than what I just said before, in that without doubt, the best meditation practice for you to do is the one that you will do. That's the most important thing. So it's really important to try lots of different types of meditation. It's important because we're all different and we all learn differently and different things resonate with us. So it's really important that you try all different types, so that you can go to anyone on any given day depending on how you feel. But whatever works for you is what you should do. Doesn't mean you don't explore others. You do definitely continue to explore others, because you might find one that works for you and you're like, yep, mantra meditation, great, love it, fantastic, brilliant. I'm going to stick with that. You might, however good a meditation is for you, you might find another one that's even better for you, and better on a different day given your different circumstances. Because every time you come to meditation, like every time you wake up in the morning, you come with a different set of circumstances. You might be more or less stressed, have more or less time, have more or less things going on in your life. So every meditation is going to be different, and you might need different types of meditation on different days depending on how you feel. And as you get better at practicing, that becomes more apparent to you. I'm just going to scroll up and see if there are other questions here, because I think there were, and I have no idea what the time is. Ooh, it's a long time. Okay. Yeah, once I start talking about this stuff, it just goes on and on and on. Okay, is mindfulness better than meditation? It depends on your time frame. So as I said, mindfulness is more of a way that you choose to live life, and there are mindfulness activities that you can do. Meditation is an ongoing practice that you can continue forever. So there is no way to say that one is better than the other. Have you seen a difference in practice meditation versus mindfulness, which is easier for day to day? Definitely both. You've got to give both a go. Like so with the red light example, if you're sitting at the traffic lights and there's a red light and you've got like 30 seconds, take a moment to check in with yourself and just be mindful of your environment, your breathing, take a long breath, chill for a split second. You don't want to start meditating, really, right? It's more of a mindfulness activity. So I hope that answers the question a little bit. I think that was all the questions that I could see. Yes. Sivan, thank you. Listening to you is already making me calmer. I appreciate that. I hope that has been helpful. I think I should probably wrap it up because I've gone much longer than 10 minutes. Feel free to shout out if you have other questions, or if you want to learn more about either mindfulness or meditation. We'll be doing lots of other really awesome sessions with Be Alternative, so look out for those. I'm excited to see what else is coming. I won't give any secrets away, but I know there's some really awesome things coming along. So thank you so much for your time. Do we have time for a quick meditation, do you think? Shall we? We are running over time, but I would really love to do a short meditation with you guys, just to kind of tune things in and finish off. So I'll ask you to get comfortable. Find a comfortable position wherever you are, whether you're lying down, whether you're sitting down, probably not standing up for this one, not so that you can't do that at other times, but right now, get a comfortable position. So take a moment, take a long breath in, and let yourselves just relax. Let your shoulders drop down. Let your breath really fill up the whole top half of your body. So all of your chest, really filling up with air as you breathe in. Fill your lungs, expand your ribs, moving out just a fraction as you do so. Let your eyes close if that feels natural to you. And take another really long breath in and a long breath out. Let all of your muscles start to feel just a little bit softer. Each in-breath really energizing your body, your mind. Every out-breath really letting go any stress, any tension. Let your breathing become more natural. Let it flow comfortably, just as you are physically seated or lying comfortably. I'll ask you now to find and think about one particular thing that you feel really grateful for. Now this might be a person, it might be a physical, tangible thing, it might be an event or an experience you've had in your life. It might be the awesome food you had for dinner, or the awesome person who cooked it for you. Whatever it is that you're choosing, make inside your mind a visual image of this thing. Look at the details, find the colours. Remember that if you have 2 arms and 2 legs and 2 eyes that work well enough, then you've just found 6 things for you to feel grateful for. Now find that feeling of gratitude inside you and connect that with the image inside your mind. Allow your breath to flow comfortably as you see this image, as you feel that emotion of gratitude. And just be here with this feeling for a few moments now, with this picture, with this image in your mind. Take a long breath in again, and a long breath out. soak in the details of that image and that feeling of gratitude. Just be present with it. Now, take one last long breath. And very gently let your fingers begin to wiggle just slowly. Take a big breath into your upper chest. Let yourself start to wake up and come back to where you are. Have a stretch out if you feel the need to, in whatever way feels good for you. Let your eyes open up. Close your eyes. Take your time. How are we feeling? That was a gratitude meditation. That was about 5 minutes long, which is, I wanted to keep it short, obviously because it's gone over time quite drastically, but also because even if you hadn't gone over time, good to start with 5 minutes and see how that feels. It really flies by in meditation. You're welcome, Marsha. Thank you. 5 minutes is not a long time. I feel like we can all find it in our day somewhere. Find somewhere in your regular routine that 5 minutes would be easy to spare. In the morning before you brush your teeth, or before you go to get into your car, or before you turn your laptop on. Find somewhere that works for you in your life, because ultimately meditation is always your practice, not anyone else's. Absolutely yours and what works for you. As I mentioned before, any questions, always feel free to shout out. As you can tell, I love talking about this stuff. Much love. See you soon.